Hey, y'all, it's your girl, Coach Crystal, and welcome to another episode of People on Purpose. Now, listen, if you're just joining us, this is a platform called Steps and Stages where we believe you don't have a life until you have a vision, but there are steps and stages to get there. I'm your girl, Coach Crystal. Today, I'm joined by Alzo Slade, but we want to welcome you into our space with the Steps and Stages mantra that just says a lot of things happen before this, and I guarantee a lot of things are going to happen after this, but we promise to be here with you now. Please be here with us now. I got to just tell you that People on Purpose started as Wisdom Wednesday. It's evolved into a podcast where I get to talk to people who I believe not only walk it, but talk it and walk it and live a life of alignment and authenticity. So I'm so excited to have Alzo Slade here today. I'm a fan. Let's just go ahead and put that out there. I've seen the work that he's done on several different platforms. I listen to his voice. He's become one of those voices mainly of one of our kind of generational places, kind of like, well, people think of Morgan Freeman. Like when you hear this voice on the radio, whether you see his face or not, you know who it is. So please help me welcome Alzo Slade.
Hello, everyone. This is my voice. No, I'm just playing. That intro to the show was impressive.
Hey, thank you.
I felt inspired just from the intro alone.
Welcome to what we try to land in as our own little corner and niche of the interwebs that allow people to calm down and check in. So
happy to be here.
Happy to have you. Tell us a little bit about we kind of have a similar accent, but it's from two different places. Tell us a little bit about where you're from.
That's a little hodgepodge. I was born in Jackson, Mississippi. Lived there for about 5 years, 6 years. Moved to Austin, Texas. Lived there for another, 5 years or so. Then I moved to Tallahassee, Florida. That's where I graduated high school. Then went back to Texas. So when people ask me where I'm from, I just say the South.
Yeah, Southeast.
Yeah, you know. And if they want to know more information, I'll provide it. But usually that's enough.
Yeah. Tell me, I think we're filming this podcast right now from my home base in Vermont.
Yeah.
And a lot of people say, Crystal, how did you get to Vermont? I don't know why they asked me that.
I could think of a few reasons.
Right. But tell me a little bit about your trajectory in terms of geography and how that has kind of changed or influenced your upbringing, or like your kind of ground rules, your value system.
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny because when we were moving all those places, because my mother was either getting advanced degrees or jobs after those degrees in different places. And I thought it was just natural for people to live in different places. Like I thought all kids moved around. And my parents initially thought it was going to be difficult to break the news to me that we're moving to another place. But so we were in Jackson. I'm 6 years old, 6 years old. And they said, we're moving to Austin. I'm like, cool. I got friends in Jackson already. Now I'm going to have friends in Austin and Jackson. That's how I looked at it.
Right.
And I think looking back on that time in my life, it probably served and fed my outlook on the world being rooted in curiosity, because I was able to see how other people lived and how other people spoke. And even if it was in the southern region, we all know, like, Texas is different from Florida. Florida is different from Mississippi.
Yeah.
And so I think that being exposed to different parts of the South and different people and different ways of life opened me up in a way that made me or invited questions.
Yeah, that's interesting, right? Because a lot of people look at the South as a monolith, right? I was just on a rant last night on Instagram about we've had the first 60 days, 90 days of the year. These last 60 days for me have been like, oh, Black History Month and Women's History Month. And I'm both of those things and I'm so much more.
Right.
And so we have this way that we can celebrate colloquially these identities, but being able to go in and out of spaces feels like something you've become really, I think, graceful with in terms of what I've seen in your commentary and what I've seen, how I've seen you break down history as a way that every man can understand it. So give me a little bit of understanding about how you see your communication style based on the ways that you've been in and out of various communities.
I just love to learn.
Mm.
That's really it. And I think, and they say there's no zealot like a convert, so when you learn something and you get excited about what it is that you learn, you're like, oh, I feel good and I feel better after having learned this information. I want other people to feel like this. So
Mhm.
let me see what I can do to communicate this information to people in a way that hopefully they feel the way I felt when I learned it. And so that's kind of the foundation
Yeah.
of it all is and I like people,
Mm.
and at the core of it, I really believe that most of us are not all that different, especially when we come into this world.
Yeah.
And then obviously we go through our different paths of being raised and different belief systems and all that. And all those things are added. And sometimes they help us connect with other people. But many times the things that are added after we come into this world that build our identity are things that stand in the way of us connecting with other people.
Yeah.
And so the reason I like people for the most part is learning about them and how they're different than me, which makes me eventually understand that they really ain't all that different.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's an ongoing conundrum these days because we're in an infodemic, right? That has so many ideas and language around who people are.
Mm-hmm.
And especially young people who are looking to that infodemic to then define what it is they're feeling
Mm-hmm.
and finding words for their feelings. I wonder if we can think a little bit together about how identity
Mm-hmm.
is an evolutionary process in this way that you're talking about curiosity, and that opening ourselves up to others, especially those who may appear different, gives
Mm-hmm.
us more insight on our similarity and humanity. Like, what's your practice?
Mm-hmm. But what's the final clip? Because I followed you all the way through to the
Yeah.
what's the
Like in
essential
terms of
question?
living this way
Uh-huh.
and cutting out the noise, what is a practice we can use to kind of continue to see that curiosity as an opening of self-reflection rather than a definition of other?
Yeah. I What did you used to wonder about as a kid?
As a kid, what are they in there talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That was my big question
Mm-hmm.
most of the time. I'm the second of 2 children, and we're 8 years apart, which makes us 2 only children.
Mm-hmm.
So I think in a lot of ways there were a lot of whispering around me, but not talking to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And the reason I ask is I think as we grow up, let me not project onto other folks. As I got older,
Mhm.
I found that that childlike wonder, that spirit of curiosity was easily like doused,
Yeah.
and I have to make a conscious effort to remind myself of how curious and how fearless I was as a kid,
Mhm. Mhm.
and how when we would move to a new place, I remember my mom, she laughs because I remember going to each door in the neighborhood asking people if they had kids.
Yeah.
It sounds very strange now that
No,
I
no,
think,
that's yeah.
but to the point to where when my like a month into a new place we were living, my mom would come outside and all the neighbors knew her as my mother. And they didn't know how they knew she didn't know how they knew me.
Mhm.
But it was that fearlessness and that
Yeah.
curiosity and and that desire to connect with other people that inspired me and motivated me to do that. And I think I just have, even to this day, I have to remind myself that that wonder and that curiosity is still there. And the other thing too, a practice is in certain situations you just take a beat,
Yeah. Yeah. The power of the pause. Mhm.
because all of us. This is when I will project. I think most of us. I won't say all because I'm averse to absolutes, but most of us have a fear of being insignificant.
Mhm.
So if I'm walking down the street and somebody bumps me and they don't say excuse me and they keep walking, I'm probably going to be a bit vexed.
Mm-hmm.
But as soon as they acknowledge my existence and they
Yeah.
say, excuse me, it's dissolved.
Yeah.
Because they recognize me as a person and who takes up space in this world. And so, like, if somebody cuts me off in traffic, even to this day, my instinct is to be upset.
Yeah.
But then I take a beat, and I don't know who's in that car.
Right.
I don't know what they went through.
Right.
I don't know what they're going through that day. But I do know for certain that each and every day I'm going through something.
Right.
You know, and so it would make sense that everyone else in this world is going through something as well.
Mm-hmm.
And so if the cashier don't smile at me or don't greet me when I walk into the store, do I automatically assume something about them and their attitude towards me? Or do I just say, maybe they didn't see me? Maybe they were thinking about something else.
Yeah.
You know, now obviously if that behavior repeats over time, you know, as I'm in their presence, then, you know, I'm going to ask them other questions. But that is a practice. That is a practice that I engage in often, is to just take a beat and try to understand situations from the other person's perspective, whether it be face to face or whether it be a story that I read in the news. You know, such and such called such and such out there named whatever.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, okay, I could easily judge right away.
Yeah.
But to what end and to what benefit?
Yeah. Yeah. Last week I had the opportunity to be in space with a brilliant dance writer and professor. Her name's Kate Mattingly. She was talking about this dial of curiosity and judgment, right? We turn up the dial on judgment, we turn down curiosity.
Absolutely.
We turn up the dial on curiosity, we turn down judgment.
Mm-hmm.
And this way of reframing another person's humanity that is not directed at you, it is just happening in front of you, right? I think is a way that is a beautiful practice of offering each other grace, especially when we're all just practicing, right? We wake up every day and practice. You know, the idea of curiosity gets a lot of airplay in terms of being curious about yourself, the way to think about diversity in a curious way, being curious as a CEO and finding new ways of, you know, being a Fortune 500 company. But how do we take, you know, okay, and I'm going to say this from my artist voice, right? Because my artist voice believes that artists have been pillaged for our innate understanding in many venues and not compensated. And artists have been proliferating culture, holding up community, and giving a mirror back to society about what's really happening in ways that are not scholarly, not quote unquote intellectual. And I feel the same way about this word curiosity, that it's being intellectualized and commercialized to a place where its original root of imagineering and being bold in choices that are not necessarily personally fruitful could be an opening for us to kind of redefine curiosity from a personal value standpoint. Like I guess I'm tenuous about the word because maybe I'm thinking it's being co-opted.
Yeah, I mean, they can co-opt the word, but I feel like sometimes when words are co-opted, you can take one or two routes. You know, you can say, let's see, that y'all didn't went and messed it up. Now we can't even use the word no more.
Right.
Or you could just say, listen, y'all do what y'all want to with it, but I know what I mean when I say it.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah.
And I think that's where I am with curiosity. I don't really think about the corporatization of it. I just think it just comes down to, are you really trying to ask some questions about you, about people, about this world in a way that is courageous? Because many times when you ask these questions, the answers that come back, they ain't pretty.
Right.
Especially when it comes to personal ones,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And so you can call it curiosity, you can call it personal analysis, you can call it self-appropriation, you can call it, man, I just want to get to know who I am.
Yeah.
I think it's the work behind the words
Mm-hmm.
more so than the words. But
Yeah.
I completely agree with you in terms of artists, you know, proliferating the culture and being taken for granted and many times taken advantage of. I do.
Yeah. But the
agree
work
with-
behind the words, that resonates,
Yeah.
right? Because curiosity without courage could be complacency. Right?
I don't think there is. I don't think there is curiosity without courage.
Okay.
I mean, you can be curious about how is it that we sitting here
Mm-hmm.
and somebody in New Zealand
Mm-hmm.
could be listening to us.
Right.
Like that kind of curiosity
Yeah.
doesn't take much courage. I
Right.
mean, it take courage if you really want to find out. You know what I'm
Right. You
saying?
wanna get on a plane. Yeah, right.
It takes some time, but I think though the curiosity around self, that takes courage.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Steps and Stages, Alzo, you know, Crystal, aka the vision coach, is constantly talking about this mantra where the quality of your questions determine the quality of your life.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that whether people believe that they are entrepreneurs or not, what they're doing every day is finding a new level of innovation with themselves.
Yes.
And if we ask the right questions, we can get to the next level of ourselves. We were in the car yesterday on the way here and I was joking. You were like, oh, is that like tomorrow? And I was like, no, that's 2033. And you were like, oh, I thought it was like, you're talking like it's tomorrow. And I'm like, oh yeah, I'm there.
Yeah.
Right. My mind
yeah.
is in 2033.
Mm-hmm.
And so this idea that the question of who am I becoming, what would I love, stays so present,
Mm-hmm.
allows me to see tomorrow, whether it be 24 hours from now or 7 years from now.
Right. That's good. Yeah, that's good.
And so what are some of the questions that you continue to find yourself asking yourself that keep you taking the courageous route of life?
Why am I this way?
What way is that? What do you come up with?
Like in this present moment, there's this philosopher, Jesuit philosopher, Bernard Lonergan, and he has this idea of self-appropriation where many times we talk about self-reflection.
Mm-hmm.
This is where you're looking back.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what did I do? How could I have done that better?
Yeah.
But he has this idea of self-appropriation where when you in the moment, like you get to the point to where you in the moment in real time, you can understand what it is you're doing, why you're doing it, and the possible impact that it will have on you personally and the people around you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I engage in on a regular basis, or I make an attempt to.
Yeah.
You know, because it helps you make decisions personally. It helps you to react in real time
Mm-hmm.
in ways that are fruitful.
Yeah.
Hopefully, but more importantly, it helps you to understand that, or it helps me to understand that I may not be as far along in my personal development as I thought I was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know,
I mean, so what I do as a coach, right? And we've seen this industry kind of explode, but it's based on the exact philosophies that you're talking about, right? We in the 70s, 80s, it got renamed as the human potential industry,
mm-hmm.
right? But this idea of self-preservation and self-appropriation and self-possession really is the same mindfulness tactic of being in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same thing we study in dance and music called improvisation, right? It's the same way that we are pulling from the past to project a fruitful future outcome and being able to respond in the moment with that pause that you brought up earlier,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so this idea that I guess the professor in me, the coach in me, the artist in me are always in conversation about, one, how to cite the source.
Yes.
And get people back to their original kind of power.
Mm-hmm.
2, how to practice the new power.
Mm-hmm.
And 3, how to believe in the potential. Right. And so the artist in me, the coach in me, the educator in me all agree on kind of that process of how we get vision, this thing in your head, out into the world and off the board.
Yeah.
Right. when you think about vision for yourself in the next 5 minutes, 5 days, 5 months, 5 years, where do we see Alzo going? Who do you see Alzo becoming as being self-possessed, self-appropriated?
Just an enhanced version,
Mm-hmm.
you know, forever progressing version of learning and teaching.
Yeah.
Some version of that. I resign myself to recognize that for the rest of my life, my energy will go into learning, teaching, community. And that may look like it could be being on stage telling jokes.
Mm-hmm.
It could be in a classroom teaching. It could be a post on Instagram, but in whatever comes from me will be in that bucket. You know, it's you are a dancer, you are a professor, you are a vision coach, and those things bring you joy.
Yes.
And it brings other people joy, right? As it's a gift you've been given, so you gotta give it.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's how I feel as I feel closer to God when I'm learning.
Mm-hmm.
And that which I learn doesn't belong to me.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it don't do me no good to just hold on to it.
Right.
Either.
Right.
And so I do my best to communicate that. And so through the teaching, I see, speaking in third person, Alzo Slade continually challenging myself to think bigger, to understand myself in a deeper way every day. And as I do that, I engage in practices and discover practices that allow me and inspire me to give and to teach others,
Mm-hmm.
so they can do the same.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we have also, in the way that I was trained in this work is that the gift is not for you, right? You have to give it. And the vision has to have good in it for others.
Mm-hmm.
And this mantra or this, old quote, forgive me, I don't know who said it, but if you want to know, you read. If you want to understand, you write. But if you want to master it, you teach.
Mm.
Right. And that gets you into that zone of genius.
The teaching is a different thing than
Yes.
just learning. Yes. Learning to learn and learning to teach is two different.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And then, there's levels to that. Right. There's in front of a classroom, there's in a community, and then there's in your family.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Because as you become a parent, you realize, oh, you're the primary instructor here of all things.
And that's the other thing about curiosity is recognizing and acknowledging your vulnerability.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Because true curiosity lets you know that you don't know nothing.
Yeah.
Socrates was like, a wise man knows that he knows nothing.
Yes.
And so whenever I meet somebody and they trying to convince me that they know everything, I'd be like we ain't really got nothing to talk about.
Right.
Matter of fact, I'm gonna give you an example. One of my best friends,
yeah,
he dated this girl a long time ago. He dated this woman a long time ago. And when I first met her, she heard my accent. She's like, "Oh, you from the South?" I said, "Yeah." She said, "Oh yeah, I love it, cooking from, the Southern cooking and da-da-da-da." And I said, "Can you cook?" She said, "Yeah, absolutely." I said, "What you cook?" She said, "I cook everything." I said, you make desserts too?" She said, "I make all of them." She said, "Name." I said, "What's your favorite dessert?" I said, "Pound cake, peach cobbler, sweet potato pie." She said, "I make all of them." And see, right then I knew. I was like, "You can't make shit. You can't, you ain't, for somebody to say, I do everything and know I do everything well, and no.
Yeah.
That's a telltale sign that you don't know much at all.
Yeah. Because you got a specialty.
And then I still gave her the benefit of the doubt because of my partner. And then she made something, and I was like, I knew I should. A waste of my time.
Yeah. No, it goes right back to what you were saying, right? Like we sometimes lose ourselves in wanting so much to be appreciated that we say things before we have actually believe them ourselves.
And sometimes that can help you,
Yes.
fake it till you make
Right.
it, as we know.
Right.
But then in other situations, now let me go ahead and finish your thought. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I know what you're about to say. Go ahead.
So when this world we live in,
Mm-hmm.
it's especially social media.
Yeah.
It celebrates experts.
Yeah.
So
or tragedy. There's no in between.
Yeah, exactly. So when if I could present myself as someone who knows,
Mm-hmm.
and I speak with confidence and conviction,
Yeah.
then usually I can ride that, because most people just gonna swallow that whole.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem is when you run up on somebody that actually know,
Right.
and they start to pepper you with them questions,
Uh-huh.
and you be like,
Posing your theory. Yeah.
look at the time.
I hadn't thought about that. Is the car here? Yeah. Right.
We've all been there at dinner parties where somebody platforming themselves, waxing poetic about foreign policy, this and politics, that.
Yeah.
I traveled and this and that, and they speaking with confidence and conviction, and folks just like, yeah, man, that's wow, you so wise, you so you so smart, and then if you in that situation and you know that they full of shit,
Mm-hmm.
you got a decision to make.
Right.
You could either just sit there and be quiet and let them have they glow and they shine, or you can be like, excuse me, that point that you made about, and then you just start to unravel it. So, and then you become the Debbie Downer. You done messed up the vibe of the party.
Yeah,
and all
I'm sorry. If I'm just trying to get to the truth. I'm sorry. I mean, what we
You
here
seem
for?
like you knew.
Right. I thought. Right. No, it happens all the time because in this infodemic, it's quick to become a guru.
I've never heard this term, infodemic.
I just say it all the time. It's
Did
one
you
of my
make that up?
words. Yeah, it's one of my words. Pandemic led to infodemic because people had a lot of time on their hands and they started consuming a lot of passive content. And
I mean, I get it. I get that when you said it, a few minutes like at the beginning, and I knew what you meant when you said it, but I just never heard it.
Yeah. Well, hey, shout out to Coach Crystal. Infodemic. Yeah. C circle, maybe. Not common, maybe. Okay. Anyway.
Somebody gonna hit in the comments and be
They've
like,
been said it. Then people been taking. I see myself quoted in many places.
Be like, I've been saying infodemic since 1932.
Okay, right. But this idea, right, is that this expertise, without understanding and without citing the sources, creates these micro gurus, and these micro gurus on social media who actually don't teach. All they do is tell. And they're doing what, a up and coming professor would do all the time, is stay one chapter ahead of the school, one chapter ahead of the student, right? So when you start peeling back the pages or you're a few chapters ahead, they have no rationale for what they're teaching, telling, or professing, right? And so I'm wondering, in the ways that you have been able to shed light in your work on communities that people wouldn't necessarily see, or break down concepts in ways that most people could understand, how do you kind of cut through the noise of what people are costuming as complexity to the actual information that you want to share?
When I think about what I'm sharing, it's mostly me sharing what I've learned. So like I did a post about the Strait of Hormuz. I ain't know nothing about no Strait of Hormuz.
I couldn't swim it either. I saw that post.
Like I didn't. And so I identify something that I want to learn about, and I do the research, maybe talk to some people, and as I'm doing the research, I transform that language into something that I would want to hear,
right?
And how I would want to hear it. I mean, you work in academia. I was a professor for quite some time, and we know there's a difference between writing for academia and writing for the people,
right?
And there's pros and cons, to both. And I think when I don't, it's not me making a concerted effort to say I'm going to cut through the noise. It's simply me sharing what I've learned in a way that I speak.
Yeah.
I don't feel the need to, you know, to try to sound academic or more intelligent
Yeah.
than I am. Like I worked hard to become the person that I am with regard to my intellectual development.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm confident in that space where, if I had to turn it on, which I don't ever foresee myself in a situation where I would need to turn it on,
Right.
but we all been there,
Mm-hmm.
Um, so it's less about cutting through the noise and just, this is how I want to hear it, and this
Yeah.
is how I speak, you know. And it's kind of like entrepreneurship 101 teaches you either solve a problem or fulfill a need.
Yeah.
And I had a need to want to learn about these things, and my people around me, my partner, my friends, I sit and tell them the stuff that I'm learning, and they're like, "Bruh, why don't you
Post that.
why don't you post that?" And
Right.
I'm like, "I ain't really on social media."
Yeah. Uh-huh.
They're like, "So you got to get over that, bruh."
Yeah.
Because people, they would want to hear this in your voice,
Yeah.
and so I acquiesced and decided to do it. But it take a lot of work.
It does. It
It's,
takes a lot of work, but I think you know, the part that's the hardest is getting over what you just said of like, oh, I don't know if I really want to share this, that resistance.
I don't know if that's the hardest part.
No?
That is a hard part.
Okay.
But one of the hardest parts is you put all that time in and you ain't making no money.
Oh, yeah. 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 It's interesting too. Okay. Right. Okay. So let's talk about this. Let's talk about the balance between giving the gift and making a living.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because making a living is not synonymous with living a life,
No.
right? So, and I think people get those confused, right? Because you could live a very beautiful, authentic, aligned life that has nothing to do with the way you make money,
Yes.
right? And I think we miss that. We miss that, especially in this kind of social media industry where everything can supposedly be commodified. Right? If I sell you enough of these tumblers with this person's name on it, I get a kickback or a commission, right? If I endorse this, if I influence you to do this, right? Really taking on this way that another person's consciousness can be the way by which I breed currency. And so, yes, right. So where do we?
Is that a problem?
I I don't know.
I mean, I feel like we should be past the point where you feel like you got to sacrifice yourself, save the world, and be broke.
Correct.
I think you can make money and save the world at the same time.
Correct. Yes. I'm talking. We're on the same page on that one. Yes. Yes, and yes. I guess I'm trying to think about the way that influencer or entrepreneur is used in some rationales that are not about a person's specific gifting. You know what I mean? The way that we're talking about, you put in a lot of work to something you're really curious about and you believe in, and it might not yield a profit, right? And how we are either figuring out a way to get the attention onto that gift,
Right.
so that it does produce a profit, or how we define currency for ourselves.
No, this is a very good point. I mean, the juxtaposition is pretty. I mean, the contrast can be stark.
Yeah.
Where is you gonna pay either way.
Yes, you're gonna pay either way.
So if you the gift that you have is not making money, so you have to stop doing it and do something that may be soul sucking or may be somewhat adjacent, but not that thing, then you're gonna pay for it because in the back of your mind or the thing that's nagging at you is is that gift that you want to explore, that you want to give. But then inversely, if you put your energy into that gift and try to put it out there and it don't reap, any sort of monetary reward,
Yeah.
Baby needs shoes.
Baby needs shoes. Yeah.
Lights got to be on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know?
No, I get that. I get that. And I think I just want to say this to people who are out there who have a gift, right? One of the things is if you don't bring forth the thing that is within you, it will kill you. But if you bring forth the thing that is within you, it will save you. And we know this from old school Southern people saying, oh, the gift will make room for you. Yes. And it doesn't mean that it's gonna make you rich in a monetary sense. But also, when we think about sharing our gift, sometimes we only see it coming out one way. Right?
Mhm.
Like you talked about this, a little while ago. Yes, I have a lot of different titles. I have 2 core values. They are love and trust. I don't do anything I don't love, and I don't work with people I don't trust. The second part of that is that all I do is teach in every realm I'm in.
Yep.
It doesn't matter. Like, so the gift has many different manifestations inside this
That was a good point.
kalaidoscope of
Yep.
life.
Mhm.
So if I'm saying that it's not making money this way, it doesn't mean the gift itself is not making money, right? Doesn't mean that it's not nurturing my needs or providing for the things that I need, want, and desire in this life. If I can't see it explored from a different perspective or a vantage point.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I'd like to add that you got to, as I say, you got to pay either way. You got to work either way.
You have to work either way.
That's I think that's the key is that gets lost in this talk. You talk about words that have been bastardized, like entrepreneurship.
Oh yeah.
Because it's associated with freedom, and people don't recognize that.
And people don't want to be free. People don't want to manage their own time. They don't want to set their own rubrics. They don't want to be like, definitions of freedom are askew.
Well, I also think the attention and the accolades that you get from telling people you're an entrepreneur is not enough to sustain you through the work, the trials and the tribulations that go along with being an entrepreneur.
Correct.
Because you out and be like, hey, what you do? Yeah, I own my own business. What? Oh man, that's dope. You own your own business. But you got to go back to that office.
Yeah.
And they not there dapping you up, and you got to fulfill them orders. You got, you know what I'm saying?
You got to read that P&L and know that profit and loss is your personal profit and loss. And if you're not really filling yourself up as a person, that could become your identity, and you could feel like, all kinds of things can go awry.
Yeah, that's why I'm also, I'm careful to tell people, oh, what you working on? And not because I'm trying to keep stuff a secret,
right?
But the energy that I'm, giving out by telling folks what I'm working on, and they already celebrating if it's done.
Yeah.
So now I'm feeling good.
Right.
Oh man, you got that film or you telling somebody that I'm thinking about going to school. What, you graduate?
Yeah.
Man, that congratulations.
Yeah.
Oh shit, I ain't got to do nothing.
Right.
They already didn't praise me.
Right.
Right.
And it's interesting because other people's endorsement can go a long way, and other people's unbelief can go a long way.
And
because we were just talking about, social media is great about like, oh my God, I'm winning, or it's a disaster. Right? I can tell just as quickly on social media I did it last week, a couple weeks ago as a joke. I just started this post by fake crying. Woo!
Oh, you mean on social media?
Yeah.
When they set the camera up, the light.
Yeah, you just fake crying, or like, if positivity is like, has to be at an extreme of winning, but disappointment can be at the base level. And people, it's the way that we are commodifying, or the algorithm is pushing certain emotions. Right. And so we got to be super careful about that too, because if we have been misaligned with our own authenticity, we'll just keep doing what gets the accolade.
Yeah. And that's exhausting.
Exhausting.
You can't chase the world to run too fast.
You can't chase the world, it runs too fast. It's true. It's very true.
But I will say, going back to the amount of work that it takes, and the research and the time and energy to put a post up, what do I do? And how it does, it doesn't necessarily reap monetary reward. I will be here without that.
Right. It's a seed.
You know,
Everything is a
like
seed.
you found me through that.
I found you on Vice News because
Oh,
it was the
found me.
only news channel that I would let my child watch.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's flattering.
Yeah. Yeah.
We,
Yeah.
we was in some sticky
He
places.
was in some sticky places, but it felt honest.
It was definitely honest.
It was
I
honest.
can tell you that.
And him growing up in a predominantly white environment, I needed him to see the news from at least a voice that looked like him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so that's really how.
No, that's flattering.
Yeah, that's how I became a fan. Yeah. Feel free to post your questions, y'all, on any platform you're on. We'll get back to the questions at some point. If you're watching
There's some
this,
questions coming in now.
Oh, I don't know. Any questions coming in? Not yet. Sorry, and I forgot to say post your questions, so maybe people didn't know they could do that.
Is anybody watching this?
Yeah, we're actually filming in front of a live studio audience. Does anyone in the audience have a question? We have some students here from Middlebury College.
Well, y'all taking notes?
Yeah, look at that.
I didn't know they was taking notes.
Yeah.
I'd have said some more profound stuff.
Oh, see, on the drop of a dime. On the drop of a dime. Listen, Alzo. It has been my pleasure to have you here. Yeah, we done. We got some other stuff to do today. You're going to be leading a workshop called Certainty is Overrated. For those of you who might think about having this workshop at your institution, please reach out to this amazing gentleman. We're going to have it today at Middlebury College for.
I thought this was it, the podcast.
No, this is not it. No, you got more work.
We talked about
the work. You got to do the work.
We talked about certainty
the work and the work.
We talked about certainty and curiosity in this podcast. So at the workshop, we're just gonna play this back.
Okay, we could play this back. We might. If you're just joining us, feel free to like and subscribe to this channel. I'm your girl, Coach Crystal. If you're an artist out there who's ready to now take their vision to the next level, in April, I'm only gonna focus on you. It's called Vision Building for Artists. Jump over to thevisionzone.com/events and register for April 8th through the end of the month, every Saturday, 12 to 2. It's virtual. You don't have to be anywhere near me to join, but you have to be locked in on your own vision to win. Listen, y'all, it's been a pleasure. Thank you, Alzo.
Thank you.
We'll see you soon. This is Steps and Stages. We're out.